Buenos días. Buen día.
Good morning. First of all, I'd like to thank and offer abundant blessings to the organization which has brought us all together here to talk and to share our experiences with a sacred plant, a teacher plant. I want to thank ICERS for their call, all their hard work, the opportunity they give us to network here, and how they're helping us to leave the conference better than we arrived, and with a greater knowledge about ayahuasca, the drink that comes from the indigenous peoples up until now. They say that important moments of change in the history of mankind, plants come up because they help us, they connect us. I've been drinking Santo Daime for 25 years. I got to ayahuasca through this spiritual line. And it's a school. It's a school. We drink ayahuasca regularly, more or less every couple of weeks or every month, sometimes twice a week, sometimes 3. And we do school every time we drink ayahuasca, every time we get together. And we learned a little bit more in this school of life, which is very long, and sometimes we get to the end of our life and we haven't quite mastered it. So I got to know this drink, which has taken us to connect with our knowledge, with everything that surrounds us, basically with nature. It's our bond, our link to where we are, where we live, the planet where we live, the way we live. Ayahuasca, Santo Daime helps us through a spiritual world to see how we can improve the state of the human being, how we can connect, how we can share. That's why this drink, this very special drink, which comes from so far away, which is here as a help for people all over the world, reminds us that from the dark, where we are, from our way of thinking, our vision of the world, the plant brings us light, a path, a teaching, a direction. We just need to listen up, be attentive, and be ready to change. The first thing it teaches us and is who we are and where we're at in our lives and what doesn't work in our lives. For me, Santo Daime saved my life. I had split up from my alcoholic ex-husband. I had 5 children. I was on the brink of a breakdown. And that's when this sacred drink came to me. It started working within me, and it made me see that there are other ways of doing things, and you just need to forgive, and then you can get on and you can hope for a better life. And that's how we start correcting our mistakes, those things in our personalities which are not quite right, that not loving ourselves. So it gives us the strength to accept ourselves the way we are and to live a fuller life. It heals all our relationships. Because if our relationships are okay, we're okay. We can live together, we can share. The next step that this drink gives us is it takes us to community life. Because the origin of the plant is indigenous communities, which come sort of from the Amazonian forest, places where apparently it's dangerous to live because there are lots of animals and perils. Well, those communities that live in the Amazon forest teaches a form of life, a way of living together in a community, in a tribe, in a family, connected together, respecting everything that surrounds us, plants, animals, everything that lives and breathes, everything that doesn't appear to be alive, but it is nevertheless. It helps us, it teaches us to respect all of that and to live in harmony. We started trying to create communities. I come from a movement from the 60s, 70s, the hippie movement, which took us back to nature, to from a way of life which didn't work for us, and it took us back to nature and it helped us become self-sufficient. Then Daime taught us the way of fraternity, a different way of life, a connected way of life. Right now, living in a community, living in a tribe, is a little bit harder because in current society, it's not easy to form small groups to live our lives. It helps us create networks. Through Santo Daime, I got to know other ayahuasca lines, which work at a more original level, such as the ayahuasca received by the abuelitos, by the elders who lived there. So I got to know about other songs, other chants, other forms, other ways of life. And we established some kind of alliance with other spiritual paths that use plants, not just ayahuasca, but peyote, San Pedro and Santa Maria, which is one of the plants about which less is known in a spiritual way, but which is nevertheless a plant that deserves all our respect and gratitude and love for helping us wake up. The work of this plant in us is precisely that, to help us wake up, connect, give us a mind at ease, at peace. And this is the path that, through Daime, led us to live at peace with Christianity. Some of us were atheists because we saw that that was not the way, and we were riddled with guilt and sin, and it was a really difficult burden to bear. Well, Santo Daime gave us the light of understanding all of this in a different way, all this path of Jesus, all this Christian path in a different way. And that allowed us to be helped by all these spiritual lines, all these guides. So sometimes when we are at a loss, we don't know what we need, it brings us light, it brings us understanding, it brings us a guide. So the path that we started here back in the 90s, that's when the first people coming from Mapia got to us to share with us the path of the Santo Daime. That's when things started out. On the year 2000, that's when the legalization process started in Spain as part of the religious line. That is recognized. The religious is recognized, not the drink. But then we have this kind of legal vacuum. The religion is recognized, and the religion uses this sacrament. So we are in this kind of legal vacuum. We are illegal. We've never had a problem. We've never had a single social conflict or political issue. No, never. We've never had conflicts. We're peaceful. And that helps us live together in community. The place where I live hosts people who come to us to spend times of crisis in their lives, important changes, young people with drug issues. And I say drug because sometimes the use of plants is done wrong, it's done disrespectfully. And then if you don't respect the plants, they don't take you where you should be taken, and you just go into addiction. So many young people come to us, and spend time with us in the countryside. The first thing we do with people who come to us at moments of difficulties is we help them work the land. That's your best help. You work the land, plant lettuces, plow the land, and that helps you. It's highly healing. The first step is always work. When you start working, you feel useful. You feel you are doing something, you are helping, you're making a difference. That's so comforting for people. Instead of feeling useless and feeling that they're just in the way, that they're not wanted, they're not useful for anything, they start feeling that they're not useless, they're useful. They start seeing the harvest of what they sowed. And that's when they start seeing Santo Daime. Every evening we get together and we sing, in the morning as well. We wake up at 7, we have a small chapel, and we meditate in the morning to start the day and to offer our thanks for giving us, to life for giving us another day. And then when we finish meditating, we start working. And then in the evening, at the end of the day's work, we get together again and we sing. We sing a prayer, a series of songs from Santo Daime, which were given to us by Padrino Sebastião to follow the path. And then in that song in the evening, you realize everything that's happened during the day. Perhaps you had unpleasant words with somebody and you realize that, well, you were not in a good space. So you kind of cleanse the day. So you go to bed clean and you wake up clean. During the day, you start adding to your load, and in the evening you clean again. So these children find in us a family. They find me and they say, oh gosh, you remind me of my grandmother. Yeah, I'm the universal grandmother. And this is very helpful. They feel welcome. They feel accompanied. They feel supported. They feel comforted. They find hope at their time of need. So they find a new strength. They spend some time with us, some time more, some time less, until they start transforming themselves. Ayahuasca, Santo Daime, helps them understand themselves and improve. And then it sends them on their way, and then, it's like ripples. New circles, new horizons open up, and other people are helped, people who need it. That's what I was saying, that Daime and Ayahuasca create community life. I was saying before that it's hard sometimes, but we're all connected, we're on the network. Everybody who comes to us, everybody who's hosted by us, we're connected. Should anything come up, we're there. We're all in touch. It's like we are an invisible tribe. We don't live together. I wish we could live in small communities with a different kind of rule. But while that time comes, we nourish those connections to help one another. There are other places with the Santo Daime doctrine which work like us. Sometimes people feel better in one place or another, so we send people on from one place to another so that altogether we can create a better human race, asking for respect for plants, particularly for ayahuasca, which is now been the object of trade. It's almost something you can buy at a supermarket. No, we have to call for respect to the plant. If you don't respect it, it wouldn't disappear, but it would sort of hide its power, and we would be left without understanding anything. So we ask not to trade sacred plants. That is a huge mistake. They're sacred. They grow free. And it's good to enjoy them and you can support them economically with anything, however you think it's best for you to support them. There are people who come to us from distant places to teach us, to support us, so we have to cover their travel, their expenses. Yeah, we need support, but I think it is a time for voluntary support for those nuclei, particularly for the indigenous communities, because they have the pattern for a peaceful life, to live together in peace with nature, in harmony. They have the pattern. We've almost forgotten it, but when we were about to forget it, ayahuasca came to us and reminded us that we also lived like that and we can live like that again. So I would ask you all, the people who use this plant, this vibrational plant, if I drink ayahuasca and somebody else in Japan drinks ayahuasca, I can connect with her because it's vibrational, our heartbeat connects. So we can be in communication. We can work together. We don't want to change the world. We want to change ourselves. We want to be better, change our thoughts. Be full of hope and the faith that we'll never want for anything. We live in a wonderful planet and our duty is to look after it and protect it wherever in the world. Right now, the Amazon forest is being attacked. The elders, the abuelitos who used to have the codes for good life, they're dying out. And the young people who took over from them, they're being annihilated. The forest is being razed to plant transgenic plants. There will come a time when our children will not have the codes for our planets. Everything will be altered. There are places in the world where, for some children, the sea is nothing but a bunch of plastic put together. They sail the sea and they just find plastic all over the place. That cannot be allowed, and it's up to us. We just need to look after our little parcel, our little plot. Just look after what surrounds you and try to feel good. If you are okay, it's contagious, it's catchy. Your good vibration will infuse people around you and they will be okay. We don't do revolution, we do revolution, because we unite once again as a human family on the planet, as travelers of these cosmic powers, which take us to wonderful spaces so that we can be better and better. I want to thank you for listening to me. I want to thank you for being my family here. Good morning.